mutilating and conducting evil and awful experiments on people, including small infant children. What in the world would anyone want with that?
Well, I guess that tells you about the priorities of our military. You know, I mean, I think they have flying saucers, but I don't think they came from outer space. I think the Nazis, you know, developed flying saucers, and
for purposes of deception, like fly them through the air and let people think there's UFOs, or just to have them?
Well, I mean, the Nazis came up with such. They had the greatest scientists in the world. You know, they worked on mind control weapons, and you know they had unbelievable funding. They had the most motivated people in the world because they were attacking the world. They were, you know, I mean, they hit so many different countries at once. They were invading everybody. So they certainly had incentive to develop rockets, and you know, I mean, right on TV you can see shows that shows the different technology that they were working on and that they had, and it was just incredible. You know, at that time there was no military that could compete with them.
Well, they had incentives. You know, Hitler believed he was going to be the New World Order. Hitler was going to rule the world. That was his goal, was to be the New World Order.
Well, their incentive is life or death. You know, create something that can conquer or be hung for war crimes. So that's a powerful incentive to, you know, succeed. And you know, I'm sure the scientists probably weren't all working under humane conditions. You know, they were probably...
No, well, there probably were good people who were forced to do it, you're right. But a lot of them, like, I think, like Dr. Mengele, I think he enjoyed doing what he was doing, you know, from what I've read about him. But there are, I'm sure, people who are forced into it, because you're right. If you didn't go with a program over there, just like organized stalking, you don't go with a program, you're going to be terminated. So you have to go with the program, whether you want to or not.
And the gang stalking was happening there, too. Gang stalking was very popular in Nazi Germany.
Before Hitler's rise. That's what I was told, that before Hitler's rise. I've talked about this with so many people, and just like what's happening here, it happened there before he came really to height of his power,
yes,
right?
That happens, yes, happens in Russia, too. And it's state-sponsored, and it's turning everybody into a policeman. Everybody watch your neighbor. Everybody report anything suspicious. Keep an eye and monitor. That's happening here. And that is so un-American. You know, I mean, of course, if you're watching your neighbor do something that's obviously illegal, well, you know, you have an obligation to report that to the police. But to be spying, you know, just, you know, that's a human rights violation right there. I mean, you have the right to be left alone. So if somebody's constantly spying and stalking and, you know, harassing you but gang stalking is much, much worse than that. But they want the average person to be, you know, a spy and, you know, just...
Well, but you know, like you said, this happened in Germany as well, because it was moving towards a fascist state, because Hitler wanted, you know, to rise to power, and that's what people believe we're moving towards again.
Sure.
You know, that's why they say World War II never really died. When those people came over here, they networked, had families, they grew, they expanded, and they've had 50 years of Satanists and Nazis and whatever else is out there to infiltrate our government. This isn't, like I said earlier, this is not the same government it was in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. You know, this is not the same country, I mean, as it was then. it's changed. You know, it used to be help your neighbor, be for community, family, you know, love, respect, morals, church. You know, it's not that anymore.
No, it's smaller government, where government, you know, is not in everybody's business. And I mean, now our, you know, everything is government. Our government is so huge. You know, the majority of the people are dependent on the government for their job. You know, it's just ridiculous. And that's all by design. You know, they create a monster of our government and, you know, and make things bad out there. So, you know, it's all by design. Everything, you know, the economy, everything. Make it, the illegal aliens coming in, you know, and taking in, you know, taking up these lower paying jobs. And that was by design too. I don't think that was just to help get the corporations their dirt cheap labor. I think it was also to dry up a lot of the available jobs, so people would be a lot more dependent on whatever scraps are.
They're thrown.
Sure, sure.
And as we talked previously, and with other victims, organized stalking victims are usually left with nothing, so they're going to be grateful for what they receive.
Oh, well, we're being destroyed. I mean, we're not being, you know, reduced. We're being eliminated. We're being tortured to death, to premature death.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, like I said, my perpetrator is either prostitution or suicide. You know, I hear them say, you college-educated girls, we don't like you. You're too smart. And I went to Northwestern University, and they really don't like that. I guess if you read a book and went to school, that's a bad thing to do, you know, when I was always taught that's a very good thing to do. You want to build a strong nation, a knowledgeable nation. These people don't want that. It's the dumbing down of America.
Oh, yeah. Well, America is being intentionally dumbed down. The quality of our schools is horrible. Yeah. And the quality of our television programs are, you know, if you try to watch a regular show, I rarely do anymore. But when I do, it's a stupid show. It just strikes me as just stupid, non-thinking stuff to waste your time with. So much of it is garbage.
Yeah, it is horrible, and I usually love to watch movies, so I rent movies or whatever, and I know my perpetrators are against that. You're not supposed to watch movies. You're not supposed to do anything but sit or stand and do nothing. Just become dumb. You know, forget what you've learned. Don't progress forward. Don't grow as a human being. Just stay stagnant. And that is very unacceptable to me.
Yeah. Our government hates creative minds also. They don't want people thinking outside of the box. They want sheep people. So.
You had mentioned earlier.
Right.
Pardon me?
You and I are doing something right to be targeted.
That's what I thought. That, you know, I think that, and I think the same way you do. We must be doing something right, or we wouldn't have this problem. And it's a shame, because we're not doing anything wrong. You know, neither one of us have felonies. We don't have criminal backgrounds. You know, we don't have any of that. And I have met people with some criminal backgrounds, and they have turned themselves around, and they're the nicest people in the world, you know. But these people are extreme criminals, and they're obviously not turning themselves around, because not only is it probably infiltrated government personnel or whatever else they are, and maybe some mobs, some people say, but I think there's different